Mark Bernal. Mr. Sims. Sure. Rose and John. Look at a bunch of people. Good morning. The court is going to take up the next case, CV 2106191. This is in the interest of Jonathan Armendariz and Simon Armendariz children. The case is set for an adversary hearing today on an original petition for protection of a child filed by the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Participating in the hearing today on behalf of the department is caseworker or investigator Christina Nelson, caseworker Heather Fowler, supervisor Angela Meador, and Brown County Attorney Shane Britton. The mother of the child is Kathy Armendariz, who I believe is present, along with her attorney ad litem Patrick Howard.
We're present.
The father of the child is John Simon Armendariz, who is, I understand, is incarcerated in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Facility, and he is not present. Donnie Lappy is present as the attorney and, the attorney ad litem for the children. Participating as the guardian ad litem for the children is Michelle Wells. And Ms. Wells, did you have some other cases on as well?
No, it's just me.
Just you today. Okay, thank you. All right, then I would note also show on my screen some other individuals participating. Show a Mark Bernal. Mr. Bernal, could you advise the court your connection with the case, please?
I was just here to try to see what's going on. My sister is Kathy Armendariz.
Okay, so you're a paternal, a maternal uncle. Okay, thank you. And then I also show on my screen, let's see, Crystal Sims. Ms. Sims, could you advise your connection on the case, please? Ms. Sims, are you able to hear me? Let me see if she's got a connection. I'll stand by for just a second. I've sent her in chat to join audio. I don't think her audio is connected yet. I'll come back to her situation in a second. Also show on my screen Rose and John Noah. Could you advise the court your connection with the case, please? I think I have the same issue with them. I'll stand by. I'm going to send them a chat too. Let me come back to Ms. Sims while they're checking on it.
The Noahs are the foster parents, Your Honor.
They're the foster parents. Okay, thank you. Ms. Sims, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, sir, I can.
And could you advise the court your connection with the case, please? How you're related to the child or the parties?
Well, I guess cousins is how we would be way down the line. But I also would watch them all the time.
Okay, so you're a maternal cousin?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Their mother.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see. Mr. Britton, could you advise the court and the parties and counsel what orders the department is seeking today?
Yes, Your Honor. The department is seeking to be named as the temporary managed conservator of the children. Parents would be temporary possessory conservators. Family service plans would be created for the parents. That outlines all of those tasks that they would be expected to follow. Children would remain in their current placement for the foreseeable future.
And let's see, I guess it would be so Ms. Fowler or Ms. Metter, can you advise the court where the department proposes the children to remain for the time being?
Ms. Fowler may know more about more up-to-date information. We are looking at several relatives. When we did the removal, we explored several relatives and family members. Mark Bernal is a hopeful future placement. He is currently stationed out of state. So there's some ICPC stuff that will have to be done with that. But we are diligently looking for relatives for these kids.
Ms. Fowler, do you have any additional information you can provide the court about that issue?
Yes, sir. We are looking at Mr. Bernal and working on towards the ICPC. They are currently placed with the nose, and we are going to leave them in their current placement at this time. I know Ms. Sims was interested in placement at one time, but I think there were some issues with that placement. And then I have recently had a voicemail left by a paternal grandmother, but I have not been able to be in contact with her yet. So I'm not really sure on the standing of that as of yet.
Okay, so for the time being, at least, while y'all explore these relative placements, the department proposes the children remain in the foster placement with the nose. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, let me start with Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard, I know you were just recently appointed in the case. Have you had a chance to visit with Mrs. Armendariz about her position on the orders requested today?
Sure, Judge. Just how it fell, I've had a good visit with her. She is not in contestment as far as the department taking temporary managing conservatorship of the kids. We would like to ask a few questions about the Crystal Sims placement. Maybe Chrissy Nelson can answer those. Our understanding is these kids were placed with them, and then there was maybe something that happened in CPS years ago that came up that required them to be removed from them. It's my understanding that that issue now has been resolved, hopefully. So I guess I'd like to know why these kids aren't placed with Crystal Sims and if there's still a holdup on that placement. But besides that, we're in agreement with the kids being in temporary custody.
Let me say Ms. Nelson can address that, just if you don't object.
No.
Ms. Nelson, can you advise the parties in the court what issues the department has, if any, now with the children being placed with Ms. Sims?
Ms. Sims's boyfriend has a reason to believe finding for physical abuse from a case in 2014 that was investigated out of the Tom Green office. That would bar us as investigators to being able to place any children in that home without a home study, which with that finding, I was able to send him a letter to see if he could have that appealed. But that is a lengthy process. And to my knowledge yet, we have not got any notification that that finding has been officially appealed.
Howard, did you have additional questions relating to that issue? It sounds like, as I understand, they're not necessarily saying that's totally ruled out, but there are some steps they would have to go through to consider that before they would be ready to consider that.
Right. Judge, we don't have any additional questions. We would ask, I think as far as these possible placements that have come up, that would be our priority. And so we would ask that a home study be go ahead and ordered, maybe expedited on their home. Mr. Bernal obviously is out of state, and I think he may be getting restationed. So I think he's unlikely as far as a placement very soon. And my client tells me that these kids don't have much of a relationship with his paternal grandmother, even though she is local. So the Sims is our best hope for a placement sooner than later. So we would ask for a home study.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see. Let me go through my list here. Mr. Lappy, any objection to the orders requested by the department at this time?
Oh, Your Honor.
Okay, and Ms. Wells, on behalf of CASA, any objection to the orders requested?
No, Your Honor, we agree with the proposed orders.
All right, thank you. Ms. Nelson, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give today before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
Could you state your name and position with the department for the record?
Christina Nelson. I'm an investigator with Child Protective Services.
And you have prepared an affidavit in support of removal that was attached to the petition, setting forth the information you obtained in the course of your investigation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. As it relates to the fathers, John Simon Armendariz, is all the information in there true and correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there any objection to the court taking judicial notice of that affidavit for the limited purposes of it as it relates only to Mr. Armendariz, just so have evidence in the record as to his situation?
No, Your Honor.
No.
No.
All right, thank you. Then the court will take judicial notice of the affidavit for that limited purpose. All right, the court, after hearing the announcements of the parties and hearing the evidence presented and after taking judicial notice as noted on the record, will grant the orders requested by the department, continue the department as temporary managing conservator of the children and continue in the current placement. Urge the department to follow up as quickly as possible on possible relative placements, and I'll order the department to go ahead and proceed with the home study on Ms. Sims just to determine if that may be appropriate. I understand there may be some additional issues you have to resolve if her boyfriend's going to remain in the home, but I'm asking the department to go ahead and proceed with that home study to determine if it's otherwise an appropriate placement, and to follow up with Mr. Bernal and the state he's in, if he's going to remain there on an ICPC home study for him as well. The next hearings in the case will be set on the status hearing is set August 5th, August 5th, 2021 and 11:30. That's the status hearing. Initial permanency hearing is set for December 9th, 2021 at 10:30. A permanency hearing and pretrial is set for April 7th, 2022 at 9:30. The trial is set May 5th, 2022 at 3 p.m. And the dismissal date for the case is June 27th, 2022. Ms. Armendariz, I'm required to notify any parent in this type of case that because of the nature of these proceedings, your parental custodial rights and duties to your children may be subject to restriction or even termination, and your progress on any court orders or plan of service will be reviewed at future hearings in this case. That said, the goal of the law in Texas is for the department to work with the parents to try to resolve any issues or concerns that prompted them to file a suit and seek custody of the children, with the goal of trying to return the children to the parents. I'd encourage you to work with the department to try to resolve those concerns as the case progresses, and hopefully the children can be back in your care in the near future.